Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Tempe, Arizona, Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Cincinnati, Lexington, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. Don't go anywhere else. So this is breaking news of that they're, well, here, I'll play it for you.
Mask mandates are coming back to several Bay Area counties. Health officials have issued orders requiring face masks to be worn in hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, and other healthcare facilities. This order goes into effect starting November 1 until either the end of March or April 2025. Now, the counties requiring masks right now are Alameda, Contra Costa, Santa Clara.
So what do you make of that? That in California, they're going back to mask mandates in certain situations. Now, there's never been a study that said masks.
That's right.
Right? This is all
There's
based.
No proof. If there was proof, it was a fake study.
This was so. In fact, here's a doctor who I follow on Twitter, Dr. Kevin Bass, PhD. He says California government has recently reimposed mask mandates on the state's healthcare facilities. Here's where the WHO found masks do not work in 2019. And he has a link to it right there at the WHO. And he has CDC found masks do not work in 2020. And then the Cochrane, which was the gold standard for medical research, found that masks do not work in 2022. So isn't this kind of amazing that, I mean, we have a Department of Health in California. Don't they know about these studies? Why would they do this, you think?
Jim, it's absolutely predictable. This is so predictable, I wrote another book. And I'm putting it on the shelf and publishing it when they do it. It's called Beyond COVID and goes into all this. The looming crisis of Pandemic X.
And so why are they doing this, you think?
It's clear they have an agenda. There's no question they have an agenda to create fear and capitulation and allow the spread of global tyranny.
Yes.
I'd have to agree with you on this. After living through COVID, after living through Russiagate, and then living through the Ukraine war, and now living through COVID, there wasn't a thing they didn't lie about. There wasn't a thing they lied about masks. They lied about herd immunity, natural immunity. Lied about transmission, contraction. They lied about where the virus came from. They lied about funding it. They lied about there wasn't a thing they did not lie about. They lied about the infection fatality rate, as now Bill Gates, after he cashed out his stock and made $500 million on the Pfizer vaccine, he now says, yeah, well, we didn't know that the virus wasn't that deadly. It had a low fatality rate. It was kind of like the flu, but a little different, and it only affected mostly the elderly. And so, but all that hysteria, still to this day, they're doing masking again over this thing that even Bill Gates now says what I just said about it. And it does seem like they want to usurp the power of your local municipalities and give it to a centralized body, which is the WHO. And who controls the WHO? Bill Gates. He's the biggest funder of the WHO, a guy who's a college dropout, not a doctor, not a virologist, not anything, but he knows how to make money, and he knows how to make money. He switched from computers. Now he's doing it with vaccines. And
he's the biggest funder because it's not only the Gates Foundation, but it's also Gavi, which he controls.
Which is another, again, people don't he started Gavi, which is they push vaccines everywhere, and they pretend they're doing it as a, for the good of everybody. And they're philanthropic. And but of course it's control.
It's the Rockefeller strategy.
Yes.
Exactly what John Rockefeller did.
Very quickly, can you tell people? So again, this is anti-science. There's no science behind this mask mandates. Right. They're just doing it, and it seems like the more of a liberal that you think you are, the more you love masks, the more you loved lockdowns, the more you loved vaccines and experimental medical treatments being forced and mandated on people. Isn't that funny to you that people, that's the most illiberal thing in the world, but they called themselves liberals? Isn't that funny to you?
It's not funny at all. It's exactly what you'd predict. That fear is a very powerful tool, and they use it very cleverly. They've been doing this, Jimmy, not just for a few years. They've been doing this for centuries. There's a small group of people who essentially are technocrats. And it's been going on for a long, long time. And they're using this fear to do this. And when you're full of fear, you're susceptible to propaganda and brainwashing. It's exactly what's required. So they can essentially program you to this type of behavior. It's very effective. These are not foolish and ignorant people. They're very strategic and clever. They're using very sophisticated tools to achieve their agendas.
It worked on me at first. I'll tell you that. It worked on me until I got vaccine injured, and then I looked into it, and everything I looked into, they were lying about. I mean, I was one of those people. I yelled at people to wear masks and things like that. I didn't know any better. They got my fear button because I have
fear will do it every time. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
When you put a mask on, you get afraid. That's what they do. There's so many triggers they're hitting to elicit that fear response.
And so now Rockefeller, people don't know how Rockefeller kind of revolutionized medicine in a bad way. That there used to be lots of different natural types of doctors. Osteopathic doctors were one of them, and that's what you are. Tell people what that is.
Well, DO is similar to an MD. We both go to 4 years of medical school, and almost everyone has residency training. In my case, I did a 3-year family practice residency. And the license actually in Illinois is the same. It's the same license from the same agency. There's no MD license and DO license. In Florida, where I live now and have also a Florida medical license, they're separate. But typically, in many states, they're the same. So there's essentially almost no difference. And sadly, this same system that the Flexner Report catalyzed in 1910 has spread through the osteopathic profession too. Ostensibly, the philosophy that Angela Taylor Still initiated in the 19th century was exemplary, but it really hasn't been translated forward, and the same forces that shifted the allopathic curriculum has shifted the osteopathic curriculum. So that's been my observation. And there really isn't a big difference although osteopathic physicians do a type of manual medicine that's similar to what chiropractors do, adjustments, or the osteopaths call them manipulations. But I think the chiropractors have a better term for it as adjustments. But otherwise, they're pretty similar. They still focus on the pharmacological model, and they don't typically integrate. The model they've adopted, it's a slave model that you have to spend 10 to 15 minutes with a person. If that, maybe 5 minutes, it's impossible to understand what's causing it, let alone to share with them a fraction of what I shared with you today, and you understand now. And if you don't understand it, it's physically impossible to ever address the foundational roots and causes of disease. You cannot do it. The only solution is take a symptomatic band-aid that's going to kill you prematurely and make them richer.
And so why wasn't Rockefeller able to so he got rid of all those other doctors, calling them not science, but osteopathic doctors he couldn't get rid of?
Well, he didn't really get rid of the osteopaths. He mostly got rid of the naturopaths. They came to, and the AMA tried to abolish the chiropractors in the 20th century, and they failed. I think it was the Wilkie case, and they were unsuccessful. But they tried really hard. They really did.
Okay. All right, Dr. Mercola, everybody should pre-order his book. It's the #1 pre-ordered book right now. Your Guide to Cellular Health.
I love that. What do you think of that woman up there?
It's a nice picture.
Yeah, she's filled with joy. And see, that's the other thing, Jimmy. One last thing. So why do we focus on this? Because biology, if you have a bad jalopy, not driving a really good car, then you can't focus on things. You can't get the energy you need. And ultimately, when you have enough energy, you can get a deeper spiritual connection and have more joy in your life. If your brain doesn't have the energy it requires, you're going to be crippled and handicapped and not be able to achieve what you want to achieve. And create with joy, which is why the joy is into us. Very important. It's really a big part of my next book, which is called The Power of Choice, which comes out next year. Okay.
Dr. Joseph Mercola, thanks. It's great to talk to you again.
Good. Thank you so much for having me on, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
Talk to you again soon. Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Tempe, Arizona, Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Cincinnati, Lexington, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. Don't go anywhere else.